Hey, my name is Mike, and in this video, I'll be showing you how to set up a Shopify subscription store. And this is something that could be very useful for a variety of different products, whether you're selling consumables like maybe supplements, for example, maybe something like pet food, maybe shaving equipment, or if you want to sell something like a subscription box that's maybe a monthly wine box or monthly food box, CSA for some local agriculture. You could have boxes of games every month, or maybe even just educational content. Whatever your reason is for wanting to sell a subscription for a physical product, in this video, I'll show you the easiest and the most effective way to do that with Shopify. And I'm going to go step by step, starting off with the very beginning of setting up a Shopify store. But if you already have a Shopify store, I will have timestamps down below. You'll see a little scrub bar right there. You can just navigate to whatever section is needed for you right now. So before I jump into how to do this, I want to start off with an example of just kind of demonstrating the website that we're going to make and what this is going to look like. So when you go to checkout, you already see this on Amazon, for example, and you probably see it on a lot of other websites too. If you want to go to buy something, you can either buy it one time or you can subscribe to it. And oftentimes you save, 5, 10, 15%. And the benefit as a seller here is that, one, you obviously have a recurring revenue here, which is very beneficial. You don't have to rely on somebody, running out of their pills and remembering to come back and get more supplement pills from you, or shaving, like stuff like that. And the other added benefit of this recurring revenue is that it is very predictable. So it should smooth out the curves of your business and help you to plan better for shipping, especially if you're fulfilling orders yourself. To get started, I'm going to go over to my laptop. And if you don't already have a Shopify store, we have a link in the description below that'll give you an extended trial. I believe it's $1 per month for 3 months at the time of making this video. And this also does help to support the channel. So I'm going to go through that link. We'll say santrelmedia.com/Shopify, or you can copy and paste the link in the description to a new tab, or just click it. It'll open in a new tab. And it should look something like this. So for our store, I'm going to do an example store for this video, just selling some supplements. And so these supplements, I have some images. We'll add those in a minute, but let's start off with our email address. I'm going to add my email, click start free trial. Now we can make a password and create a Shopify account. Now they're going to ask us a bunch of questions right here. I'm going to actually skip all of these customizations for the setup. Ultimately, we can customize our store entirely on our own. This is really just going to change the dashboard and a couple things, but just to save time, I'm going to skip all of that. So on the bottom right, you'll see you have 3 days left in the free trial. We have to select a plan. It's 3 months, $1 per month. So I'm going to select a plan for a lot of beginning stores. If you don't have any traffic already, just start with the basic one. That's always what I recommend. It's $29 per month if you do annual, $39 per month if you go monthly. And these other ones may make sense. I'll have another link in the description that can help you decide. Really, the thing you're going to want to look at is the credit card rate. So if you start selling enough volume that 0.2%, as you can see, 2.9 versus 2.7, if that 0.2% is more than the difference in the prices of those plans, then you're actually saving money by going to more expensive plans. So that's the main thing I would recommend looking at. For a lot of beginning stores, like I said, I'm going to select the basic plan, enter my contact information. All right, so here we are on the Shopify dashboard. I'm going to kind of give you a condensed version of this, just how to make the product and how to find it on your site, and then how to add the subscription. If you want to know the full design details, how to really make your website look a certain way, I have a separate video. I'll link that down below, and like up there somewhere, I'm going to put a little card so you can watch that video next. But for this, first we're going to start off with our products. Before you can have the subscription, you have to start off with the product that is going to be the subscription product. So I'm going to add a product, and for this store, I'm just going to add one. We're going to call this product Neurospan Longevity Nootropic Gummies. And I have a little description. So in this description box, you can add a lot of stuff. Of course, you've got standard text editing to make things bold or italic. You can copy and paste things. You could add images and videos. I don't really recommend that right here, but you can if you have maybe like a chart that you want to show, for example. I have a little table that I added in down here. And then below that, we can add our media. So I'm going to upload some new media. I've got 4 images I want to add. And by the way, I just made these in ChatGPT. I think it's a pretty great tool, especially, recently with ChatGPT's update. Like this image right here. Let me pull it over so you can actually see it. Like that's the image we're using just to kind of test out a product. That's kind of what I'm going with right now. We can always, redesign this later. So I'm going to close out of that. And we have a couple little icons here. And we have a couple other images right there. Scrolling down, we can choose a price. And you can either have or exclude the compare ad price. So this could either imply a sale or show what other competitors are actually selling at. So maybe other people sell this kind of thing for $34 $34.99, for example. Then you can also have your cost per item for your own tracking to figure out what your margin is, what your profit is internally. So if it costs us internally, let's just say this is going to cost us like maybe $9.47. You can see the margin is 60.5%, at least right now, not including anything else like shipping or of course marketing and things like that. We can track the quantity, and let's say that in our office right here or in our warehouse we have 500 available. This is a physical product. We'll say it weighs 0.2 pounds. You could also have it in ounces or kilograms or any other thing that you want. You have customs information if you want to have your HS code there. I'm not doing international shipping, so I can leave that blank. And if we have any other variants, you can have those added down here. So maybe flavor, for example, we could have strawberry or we could have orange. I don't really want to add that for this. Just again, this is like a simple little thing, some orange gummies. So we're going to leave it with no variants. But if you want to add those, again, that's where you would add that. And you can still have a subscription with that. It's going to make the contract with whatever flavor they actually end up ordering. On the bottom, the search engine listing is going to be how it shows up on Google. So if you want to change, what that search result is going to look like, you can click the pencil icon, change the page title, the description, and the URL handle. I'm going to save it as is, and I think we have our first product pretty much ready to go. All right, so step 1, make the product. Step 2, kind of just build out a website very quickly. We're going to use a template. It does all of that for us. And then step 3 is going to be adding that subscription feature on there. Then after that, I'll show you a demo order and some other really cool things that I think add a lot of value for both you and for the customer. So let's go down to online store. You'll see it's kind of a strange way Shopify sets this up. Online store is one of our sales channels. If you sell on eBay or anywhere else, you're going to have other sales channels like TikTok, for example, listed down here. So the first thing we want to do is scroll down to Visit Theme Store on the bottom right. There are a lot of themes available. This keeps growing as well every time I make a tutorial, but still only 13 free themes. So the paid ones, they can be like $300 usually. And sometimes those are better for load speed and stuff like that. But for a new store, I usually recommend starting off with the free ones. It's very easy to migrate to a new store. You can really build out a second store, and once it's ready, just switch places with the other store. So if you ever decide you want a paid theme, whether that is for faster load speed or any other feature on there, you can always switch sometime further on down the road. It's very easy to do. So for this, because I'm just selling one product, I'm going to go with Origin. I really like this layout for a single product. I'm going to say try theme. It's going to add that theme to our online store now. And then that kicks us back to that little online store sales channel right here. Now you'll notice that right now we still have the Dawn theme. That's the default that it actually comes with. So what you have to do is down here, once this is done loading, we have to click on publish. Now while it's kind of loading right now, I'm going to remove the password in the meantime. So we can click on remove password so that we are able to go in as a guest user on different devices and actually, do some sample purchases for ourselves. Don't remove the password though if you have a well-known domain or a well-known brand and you're worried that some people might go onto your website and see an unfinished website. Because this is a new website right here, I don't have any traffic, I'm not worried about that, and I can remove the password. So now let's go down here. This is done. You can see, let's click on publish and we'll have that theme published up on the top. There we go. We have that ready to go. And if I just click on customize, we'll be able to edit the store. And again, this is not going to be a full design tutorial, but I want to take maybe 2 or 3 minutes to kind of build this out. So we do have a viable store to test this and show you what the subscriptions are actually going to look like on here. So the way Shopify sets this up is what's called a section layout. Some people call it a strip layout. You'll see each one. So this is one section right here outlined in blue, the featured product. And then below that, we've got this is one section. And on the left side is kind of a hierarchy tree of what's actually being shown there. So I can collapse all these and you'll see these are all the sections at the highest level. We've got a featured product, image banner. If I click on that, it'll bring me down to that and allow me to customize that. And so that's essentially how it works. So right here, let's talk about this featured product. If I click on featured product, I can change, some basic layout of it. But if I go back and actually click on the down arrow, we can choose, the title, the price, things like that. So if I click on featured product, I'm able to, first of all, select the product on the top. We have one product, so I'm going to click on that. It'll add it in here. I don't really like how these backgrounds clash, so we can then change the color scheme, change this to a white background. That also doesn't quite match. So before I continue, that's going to bother me. I'm going to click on the left side. You see we have these 3 icons. We've got the sections, which as I pointed out is the hierarchy right here, the kind of the navigation tree. Below that we have theme settings, and below that we have app embeds. You'll really not use app embeds a whole lot, at least in the, a basic store, but within the theme settings, you can change the logo, colors. There's a lot of stuff. Like I said, I dig into that in the design tutorial, but I want to go to colors and edit scheme 2. That's what we're working with right here. The background color is just all white. Instead, I want to change that to match this color here. So I'll hit enter, and that should change the color. Now it matches a lot better. Maybe I would go in Photoshop and kind of like soften up these edges or remove that background, but at least for now, I think this looks significantly better than it did. So let's go back and again, go back to the section so we can edit this. Now, if there's a section you don't like, so this top one, this title right here, maybe you don't need it, you don't like it, you'll see this little remove button, a little red trash can. I can click on that, and now that is gone. Down here, we can edit everything else in a very similar fashion. You click on it, you'll see we can change the images in here. So actually, maybe I want to add multiple images right here. So let's get rid of the image banner. Let's get rid of that. And instead, we can add another one in between. So if I hover between these two, a little blue line pops up and says add section. So I can add a section that would be, I just want to find one that has a bunch of images. Multimedia collage looks pretty good. Multi-column could work. Yeah, let's go with the collage. That could work just fine. So in this collage, I want to, first of all, change the color scheme. We can make this white. So let's make it a white background. And then within the collage, so you'll see we have image, product, collection, 3 things listed right here. Let's start off with the image. So for image, I can click on that. I can select image, and this is maybe going to be this image right here. Just a little kind of marketing, branding image that I had ChatGPT create. Then over here, we have the product. We already have the product listed right above, but you know what, whatever. Let's just list it again here. I'll click on product, select the product, and that is going to be our only product right now. Actually, I really don't like that. Let's replace that with an image. So we can delete that, and we can add a block that's going to be an image. We can add another block that is going to be yet another image here. So now we've got 3 images. Let's say we want this image to be maybe the hand with the gummies in it. All right, there we go. Let's roll with that right there. I can say save. All right, just a pretty basic website. I'm going to save this. Now let's start building out this little subscription box up here. So if I click exit, go back to our dashboard for Shopify. So now I'm going to click on apps. I'm going to type in subscription. You should see it pop up right there, Shopify subscriptions. I'm going to click on that. There's a free plan available. We can click on install. You want to make sure, let me go back to that page. I don't want to show it too briefly. Shopify subscription, this is made by Shopify. The developer is Shopify, as you can see down there. You're able to use it directly in here, and I'll show you exactly how to set this all up. So in this other tab, by the way, there are other apps out there that do something similar. I just chose to go with the one made by Shopify, for compatibility reasons. Like their own team should be upkeeping this with any future updates. So there's 5 steps they give us right here. The first one is to create your first plan for subscription. So let's create the plan, and this one we can call it. Call it subscribe and save. That sounds fine. Internal description, we could have, let's call this the monthly 10% plan. And the product, we can browse our products, and we want to choose this one right here. If you have multiple products, you can have, different contracts set up. So I'm just doing this one product right now with this subscription. We're going to offer a discount as well. A lot of times people do like to see that incentive to actually go and do the subscription. I know I do this all the time with like protein powder and all kinds of things like that. So the discount of, let's just say every 1 month. So we're going to do it every 1 month. They get 10% off. So if you subscribe monthly, you save 10%. And I think a lot of people are very, very willing to do that. But we can also add another option here. So maybe you want to have it every, let's say every 2 months, every 3 months, or 2 or 3 months. And we could say they save like 5% if they want to do that. So maybe they're not taking this every single day. So let's move it down to 2. Maybe they're taking like every other day, for example, or they just don't think they would use it enough. You could, replenish it every 2 months, but it's going to be a little bit less of a savings for them. So this is very simple. Just to set this up, I can say save. and that should bring us back to our Shopify subscriptions. And a little tip right here, you see this little thumbtack, this little pin icon. I recommend clicking on that so that in the future it's easier to find this app. For some reason, Shopify doesn't always pin all the apps right there, so you a lot of times will have to go into the apps right here and search for your app unless you pin it onto your bar on the side. So I always like to do that. It's just easier to find them, and something as important as subscriptions on a store like this, you're probably going to be visiting this a lot. So let's click on the subscriptions icon again. Step 1 is complete there. Step 2, import existing contracts. We don't have any contracts, so I'm going to skip that one. Step 3, add subscriptions to product pages. It looks like it just did that right there. We can add the subscription widget, and as you'll see in here, it'll show up on the bottom. So it just showed up automatically on the bottom. But for the product page, again, this is a really long description. I don't like that description. Let's edit that real quick. Let's actually just remove the description, make it a little more brief there. We can put the description somewhere else down here if we wanted to. But for now, okay, again, we've got the product right here. We've got the price. We've got quantity, add to cart, and buy now. But subscription, I would like to be somewhere up there. So on the left side, if you expand the product information, you'll see subscription widget. We can click on the little 6-dot array and drag that puppy right up here under price. And there we go. So now people can see, they're able to, they see the product, they're able to see the price. And then right here, before they even add it to their cart, do they want a one-time purchase, or do they want to save 10% or 5% by doing those auto renews there? So I'm going to save that. I think that looks pretty good. And I can close out of this tab, going back to where we were in the panel for subscriptions. Now below that, we can allow customers to manage their subscriptions. This is going to have people essentially sign up for an account with you. So they're going to make a username and a password. This is easy to do on your website, and it's something that I find very helpful for people to, if they know they bought from you and they want to buy again, they have their account, they can go back in there and they can see what they ordered in the past. Similarly, if they want to know, is something returnable, is something not, it's just easier for customers to have an account. I personally like making accounts with a lot of things. Like I said, maybe protein powder, some supplement, something like that. So let's turn on subscription management. It'll bring us into our Shopify settings and allow us to set up those subscriptions. On the left side, you'll see subscription management. I can click on plus. I can add that to accounts. And you can actually add it to your menu as well. You'll see this little item right here. We can say add to menu. So I'm going to wait for this to be done loading, and then I'm going to click add to menu. I think it's very beneficial. So when somebody goes to your website, they log in on the top right, then they're able to click on subscription management and make sure they can pause or cancel their subscription if they actually need to. So I'll say add to menu. I should say save. There we go. And then on the top, we can say subscription management, or say manage my subscriptions, save, and that will be listed on the top. So Shopify kind of makes all this very easy. There's ways to get into this from the back end in your settings. It's not particularly hard, but I really like how they just make it extremely accessible and easy for you to actually set that up here. So now in a different browser, I'm going to visit the website right now. Click on the little icon, the account on the top right. I'm going to create an account. And right now we have no orders. So this is when you sign in. You see it brings you to this page right here. Any past orders will show up here. You can see manage my subscriptions pops up on the top now, so they can go to that. Again, we don't have any subscriptions. I'll go and do a demo order in a second, and you'll see how you're able to manage that. You're able to pause, you're able to cancel subscriptions and manage it like that. So back to the Shopify dashboard, again, within subscriptions right here, the last thing is going to be customizing notifications. If I click on that, we can edit customer notifications. And within the notifications, if we scroll down, there are a lot that we can actually work with here. One is going to be subscriptions. You'll see an entire section right here. So we can notify people if they canceled it, if they resumed it, if it expired, if it paused, and if there's any that you want to modify or that you don't like. So maybe we don't want to notify them about an attempt for payment failure or something like that. We could toggle that off. Otherwise, if you want to have it paused, you want to change what you're saying for that, you can click on that and you can very easily edit what this is saying, or you can send a test email to make sure that's actually working properly. While we are in settings, there are a couple important housekeeping items if you haven't already done this for your Shopify store. The first one, in general, you can rename your store. So I'll click on general. We can rename our store, and we can also scroll down. We can also scroll down and change how our orders are identified. So right now it's just a little prefix of the number symbol, and then they're all going to be numbered, 1001, 1002. But if you wanted to have it dash supplement, because maybe you have multiple stores and you want to organize it like that, you can easily do that. You can change the prefix and the suffix very easily right there. And I'm going to click on the pencil icon for my store, change the name of my store. The next important setting is, of course, going to be payments. Nobody can order anything on your store if you don't have payments set up. So you can set up a lot of different ways to accept payments. PayPal is a very easy one. Shopify Payments is probably going to be the primary one, as this is going to accept essentially all major credit cards, Discover, MasterCard, Amex, all of them like that, including Google and Apple Pay. So in order to do this, we have to verify our account, go through email. You'll have an email. Let me pull that over for you right now. You'll have an email that looks something like this. You just have to confirm your email. Email has been verified. Good. And then if I refresh this page, we're all set here. So now I can submit my details and set up Shopify payments. Below that, you can choose shipping and delivery information if you want to have different shipping zones calculated right here. You could just have free shipping everywhere if you want to set it up like that. Below that, we have taxes and duties, of course, depending on where you are. Check up on your local laws. Make sure you follow that. And then domains. This is the last one I'm going to touch on right here that I think is really, really important. We want to get a new domain. I recommend buying it through Shopify. You can save a couple extra dollars if you want to go through like Namecheap, for example. And sure, I do recommend checking that out. If it's significantly cheaper, then go ahead and do that. Typically, the difference is like, maybe $14.99 a year versus $16.99 a year. And so $2 per year is not a significant enough difference for me to go through the headache of having two different accounts and linking them together. Doing it all through Shopify, I find to be significantly easier. Just imagine your credit card expires in a couple of years and you have to remember to go and find your Namecheap password and go in there and renew enter your new credit card information there. I just do it all through Shopify right here. So let's say we're going to be Neurospan or let's say Neuro, $16 a year. It is available. I'll buy it. That's a pretty bad domain. That's why I just put it in there because I knew it'd be available. We'll say buy domain. Then you can check the domain status. Right now, it'll say go and verify your email. In your email address, you'll be able to click that and it'll be verified and then you'll have that new domain. So let's close out of this. That's kind of a summary of just about everything. There are a couple little quirks I want to point out. One is going to be, if you go back to online store here and we're looking at the themes, the theme that I chose right here, the free themes typically do this. If we go to customize, I bet this will not. Yeah, so sure enough, it doesn't show the option to have a subscription there. It's only going to be on the product page. So you might want to redesign your website accordingly. But if you look at the actual product page, so let's get over to this. Let's go over to the products. We'll go to products. We'll find our product. And if I click on view, it'll show us in the online store. It does show up here. All right, so that's pretty much everything I think you need to know to get started with a Shopify subscription store. If you have any questions, definitely leave a comment down below. I recommend next watching my full Shopify design tutorial where I go into all the details on how to set up your Shopify store, all the different sections and everything that you might be missing out on if you haven't watched that video, that maybe you don't know how to set those up. So thanks for watching. I wish you the best of luck on your store and I'll see you over there.